There are few positions more important in the Imperium of Mankind than that of Chapter Master. There are around 1,000 Astartes chapters currently serving humanity in their unending war efforts, and each of those 1,000 chapters requires a chapter master, a leader who is the greatest amongst them, not only in skill and ability on the battlefield, but also in knowledge, wisdom, and experience in all things related to leading a group of 1,000 maniacs who have a hint of blood in their steroid stream as they slaughter their way through the enemies of mankind. It's a tough position to fill. Of course, these sorts of men are actually quite hard to come by. They are a rare breed amongst rare breeds, as it is not uncommon for a chapter master to serve for multiple centuries, even as the Astartes under their commands are made, fight, and often die, only to be replenished with new Astartes. Why do these chapter masters tend to outlast their younger battle brothers, you may ask? Well, for the greatest reason in all of Warhammer. They are named characters, and their models are available to purchase from Games Workshop. Anyways, today we're going to look at who I personally feel is the greatest chapter master in all of 40k. Of course, if you disagree with me saying that, please let me know in the comments who you think could take his spot, but be warned, I will be providing receipts for my statement today. It's time to take an in-depth look at Chapter Master of the Space Wolves, or as they would say, the Great Wolf of the Vilka Fenrika, Logan Grimnar. And if you end up enjoying this video, leave a like or a comment to let me know. You could even subscribe. It would help my small channel out immensely. Thanks. Quick disclaimer before I get further into the video. I'm going to try really hard to not include the words wolf and wolves in the video too much. Because I love the Space Wolves. Shit, I already did it. But oh man, do the authors ever love to just insert the word wolf into basically every term and phrase they can. It's actually ridiculous. And we'll see how successful I am at avoiding that. I can't make any promises. I'm just letting you know I will try my best. And I will probably still say those words a lot. Okay, as I said, chapter masters across the 1,000 chapters of the Astartes are all legendary warriors and leaders, some of them even being viewed on nearly the same level as primarchs, such as Dante, chapter master of the Blood Angels and Lord Commander of the Imperium Nihilus, Azrael, supreme Grand Master of the Dark Angels, and Marnius Calgar, chapter master of the Ultramarines. But Logan Grimnar justifies his legend status with pretty much every single thing he does. He is the absolute personification of the saying, beware of an old man in a profession where men die young. So how old is he? Well, he is just over 700 years old, and has led the Space Wolves as chapter master for 500 of those years. We don't have an exact way to compare his age to that of the average Astartes, but since 99.999999999% of Astartes die in combat, it's quite rare for them to live longer than 200 or 300 years. Speaking of 99.999999999% of Space Marines, I think it's safe to say that Logan Grimnar has some unique capabilities that 99.99999% of Astartes are completely incapable of matching. For one, Logan wears Terminator armor, a bulky, extra protective, and super strong enhanced version of standard Astartes power armor. Terminator armor is literally made for situations where maneuverability is not an option. Astartes that wear Terminator armor are essentially designated as the, hey, just stand over there and blow a bunch of shit up while barely moving guys. That's kind of all they can do. Logan Grimnar, on the other hand, runs in his Terminator armor and jumps and basically does whatever he wants. After the Space Wolves came to blows with the legendary Grey Knights, following the Inquisition's order to destroy the hive planet of Armageddon, after it was exposed to the horrifying truth of chaos, they were eventually able to broker an armistice agreement, which the Grey Knights, under the order of the Inquisition, promptly broke, firing upon the defenseless Space Wolves, destroying 4 of their ships and crippling a 5th. Side note, fuck the Inquisition. All my Space Wolves homies hate the Inquisition. Grimnar and 3 of his Wolfguard, of course they're called Wolfguard, subsequently found themselves in a standoff against Grey Knights Grand Master Yoros and a squad of Grey Knights. Lots of cool, badass one-liners were exchanged between Grimnar and Chapter Master Yoros, who had executed the attack on the Space Wolves before the following sequence of events took place. And I'm going to read an excerpt, and it's a little long, but bear with me because it's pretty crazy. Lord Yoros of the Eighth Brotherhood had ruled with a cautiously ambitious hand for 70 years. He was respected by those of us in his brotherhood, though scarcely loved, a warrior admired, but rarely emulated. The list of his deeds was more impressive than his unapproachable exterior might suggest. While he lacked a great many commendations for command, as a duelist and a frontline fighter, it was acknowledged across the order that few could match his reputation and skills with 2 Falchion blades. A vital aspect in any Blade Master's repertoire is the ability to read an opponent's movements and react with greater speed than they can act in the first place. Yoros was a master, and his reflexes were renowned. And yet, his blades had scarcely cleared his scabbards when Logan Grimnar's axe of blackened steel and burnished gold cleaved into our Grandmaster's breastplate and throat, ending a worthy, respectable life of service with a single crunching chop. Yoros went down, felled by the axe blow and dead before he hit the ground. The great wolf's axe, named Morkai after some heathen Fenrisian superstition about a god guarding the halls of the dead, ripped back out, blood sizzling on its active metal surface. That should explain, at least partially, how quickly the High King of Fenris moved. That's right, Logan absolutely destroyed the Grandmaster of a chapter whose gene seed is literally from the Emperor. Not a Primarch, but the Emperor of mankind himself. Logan's the GOAT. What can I say? In his defense of the people of Armageddon against the Inquisition and the Grey Knights, Logan also demonstrated a quality that has made him immensely popular amongst many common folk within the Imperium. It was only the Space Wolves, under his command, and the Salamanders who spoke out against the Inquisition's decision to commit exterminatus on the people of Armageddon, with Logan even taking it so far as to engage in operations against the Grey Knights in defense of the planet. I should mention, however, that even though he did oppose the Grey Knights and the Inquisition, the Space Wolves refused to fire on their Imperial allies, despite those allies repeatedly firing upon them, killing countless Fenrisian thralls and many, many Astartes. Of course, Logan did, as I said, kill the Grandmaster of the Grey Knights with an axe, but that was, after all that other stuff took place. Anyways, Logan was destined not only to become an Astartes, but to become a great leader as well. In his previous life, as a tribes member of the Iron Bloods on Fenris, he demonstrated time and again his abilities as a warrior. When a wolf priest of the Space Wolves, wolf priest, guess what he does? He's like a priest, but wolf. Anyway, witnessed him lay waste to an enemy tribe and their leader with ease, his fate was sealed, and he was destined to join the ranks of the Sky Warriors of Fenris. Fenris is what is known as a death world, a planet that has been deemed by the Imperium to be too dangerous to support widespread human settlement. As a death world, Fenris is widely inhospitable for a number of reasons. Primarily, the actual surface of the planet is not permanent. Once a solar cycle, the planet passes close enough to its star that the vast continental ice sheets that cover its surface begin to melt, crack, and split apart, allowing the destructive, roiling ocean beneath to break through. Entire continents disappear during this time, and new ones arise. Such a harsh environment also breeds resilient but terrifying native animals, such as ice trolls and thunderwolves, amongst many others which are actually completely terrifying. But we'll talk about those amongst other crazy creatures found throughout the galaxy in another video. While Logan was undertaking the trial of Morkai, a trial which all Space Wolves aspirants must pass on their mission to become full-blooded Astartes, he slew an ice troll that had killed multiple dozens of previous aspirants. This in itself is impressive. What is more impressive is that the trial of Morkai requires a warrior to be abandoned in the middle of nowhere, far from the Space Wolves headquarters, known as the Fang. Big surprise there, wolves, fangs, whatever. With almost no clothing, in the middle of Fenrisian winter. So, keeping in mind, Fenris is a death world, so it's cold as out there, and requires that warrior to somehow return to the Fang through any means necessary. So Logan killed this ice troll, which had easily killed countless other aspirants, while wearing his tighty whities in a blizzard with his bare hands. Technically, he actually killed it by stabbing it in the eye with a broken bone, probably the bone of one of the humans it had killed previously. Now, get ready for this next bit. Logan wears a pelt of a thunderwolf as part of his armor. Not too crazy, a lot of Space Wolves wear wolf pelts, big surprise. But remember what we just talked about? How Logan was the rare warrior who could defeat an ice troll, that ice troll having killed dozens of previous aspirants? Well, Thunderwolves regularly eat ice trolls as part of a healthy, balanced Fenrisian diet. On top of that, the pelt that Logan wears belonged to Fellclaw, a Thunderwolf that infamously terrorized the northern plains of Asaheim. Logan hunted it down personally, this time completely naked. I guess the tighty whities were a bit too constrictive, or something. As the kids say, bro's an actual menace. On God, big facts. He fought the Thunderwolf hand to hand, or hand to paw, I guess, and eventually defeated it by literally ripping out its throat with his bare teeth. Upon seeking refuge in Felclaw's nearby lair, he found its 2 pups and brought them with him back to the Fang, raising them from their infancy. He now rides a gravity-suspending chariot into battle, pulled by these 2 Thunderwolves, Tyrnak and Fenris. So is Logan just a straight-up savage? Well, yes, but actually, no. What makes Logan truly stand out above all others is his charisma. Bro has space riz. Those that come into contact with him can't help but quickly come to see him as a trustworthy ally and a caring friend. Even the old and grumpy Longfangs of the Space Wolves eventually warmed up to him and allowed him to continue his rise through the ranks of his chapter, a rise that, of course, culminated in him leading the entirety of the chapter. And though I haven't mentioned it yet, becoming the High King of Fenris. That's right. If you lead the Space Wolves, you're also a king. Being a literal king 40,000 years into the future seems kind of weird, but also, in this case, it honestly it makes sense. Of course, King Grimnar's easygoing manner amongst allies is only matched by his savage strength of will when at war. During the first war for Armageddon, Grimnar found himself in a fight to the death with a Chaos Champion of Khorne, Acor Doomflayer. Safe to say, that's not a good guy name. After Doomflayer had dispatched 2 of Grimnar's personal guard, they're actually called Wolf Guard, but I'm so done right now with all of that, he engaged Grimnar in one-on-one combat. Doomflayer struck the flat of Grimnar's sword, Frostblade, shattering it in an instant. But even as he did so, Logan lunged to the inside of his opponent's swing, tearing off his helmet and sinking his big wolfy fangs into Doomflayer's throat, ripping it out. You know, I'm starting to think that's Logan's thing. First that Thunderwolf, now this literal supercharged half-demon axe murderer. He's a big throat ripper, this guy. Logan kept his fallen opponent's axe for himself, brandishing it for the duration of the campaign and having it reforged back home on Fenris into the likeness of the twin-headed Fenrisian wolf god, Morkai. Because, of course, they have a fucking wolf god. Why wouldn't they? So there you go. There's a nice brief look at the chapter master of the Space Wolves, aka the Wolf Lord of the Vilka Fenrika, aka the High King of Fenris, Logan Grimnar. Widely regarded throughout the Imperium as one of the greatest, if not the greatest warrior amongst all of the countless billions who defend the safety and sanctity of humankind. As brutal as he is caring, as approachable as he is violent, Logan is a truly unique character in the 41st millennium. And as any wolf priest will tell you, you can't be a true wolf lord without the blessing of the wolf gods. You can't rule in the Great Wolf, aka the Wolf King's place, without commanding the respect of the Wolf Guard and the Wolf Scouts, or without conquering the greatest Thunderwolf in battle. And I think I've run out of wolf terms, so we're just going to end this wolf video. If you enjoyed today's wolf video, please leave a wolf-like or a wolf comment to let me know. And if you really liked it, you could even wolf subscribe. And as always, thanks for wolf watching.